Hello everybody, this is Promovian Tempest, and today we're going to be talking about something that's used within the craft by many practitioners. Has been used for many years by various practitioners of the craft, and in very many ways. We're going to be talking about sigils, basically. So basic sigils, because the more that you begin to work with sigils, the more complex you can make those sigils. So for today we're just going to be focusing on some basic sigils, ones that are very easy to do, very easy to understand. I'm going to turn the camera so that you can see on my table what it is that we're looking at when we want to create a sigil. Sigils can be used either on their own, they can be used alongside in conjunction with other tools, so for example candles, working tools. There are endless possibilities for the use of sigils. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see exactly what it is that we're dealing with. Okay, so in front of me you can see the word wisdom and a box. So for this example of how to create a sigil, we will work with the example that we want to create a sigil for gaining wisdom. So how do we go about that? We take an empty box, we draw an empty box, and the word of our intention, what it is that we want to manifest within our craft. So the next step, moving along, is using the word wisdom. We're going to design a sigil within the shape of our box. So we're going to use the letters. So I don't know whether you can see, I'm going to try and point with a pen. Here is our W. Can everybody see that? There's our W. And then within the design we have the I, we have the S, we have the D, we have the O, and right at the top is our M. So those letters are held within this box. Now obviously when we want to use the sigil, we don't want the box, because we don't want this line here and we don't want this line here, because they're not part of what we're trying to manifest. They're not part of our design. So our next step is to remove the box so that we are only left with our sigil. So this is our intention. This is what we want to manifest. Now within this particular design, using the word wisdom, we have the letters, but we also, the way the letters have been used in the design, we can see a number 9. Now the number 9 corresponds to the 9th Sephira, which would be Yesod, which is universal truths. So universal truths, 9th Sephira, is incorporated into the design. Now this particular design, as we're playing around with the letters, the 9 formulated within the design all on its own. That said, if you wanted to add symbolism into your sigil design, you could do. So if you were, for example, working with protection, within this circle here you might want to have the shape of a pentagram. Or if you are working with planetary influences, you might like to add in the symbol for that particular planet. And so it goes. You go from your empty box with your word or phrase, your intention, and you create a design. Now, play around with it until it's something that you're happy with, and the idea is that the finished sigil shouldn't be readable to somebody who is just going to glance at it, to look at it. So what about if we have a phrase that has repeating letters? So something like new home. We can see that we have 2 E's, but we don't need to include an E twice. So we cross one of the E's out. We don't need to use that. So what are we left with? We're left with these letters. These are the letters that we're going to include in our box shape, and we're going to create a sigil using these letters and these letters alone. So if we have a phrase or a word, or our intention has repeating letters, we rule out the repeating letters, so we're only using that letter once. And with the remaining letters that are left, we are going to create our sigil using the above method. And like I say, you can make sigils as intricate and as complex as you like. You can include various symbolism within the sigils. You can use various alphabets within sigildry. And I'm just going to move this paper out of the way just slightly. Just bear with me. Now, this is something that many of you will be familiar with. What we're looking at here, if I can just focus in, is the Theban alphabet. And if you chose to, you could use the Theban alphabet to create your sigil with, rather than our everyday normal alphabet. You could also, if you chose to, there are many alphabets out there that we can work with. Things like the angelic alphabet, the Malakim Pictish, the runic alphabet, even the Ogham. And in exactly the same way, you would take your letters that you want to use from your intention. You would then find, so let's say the letter N, you would then find within your alphabet which letter corresponds. So here is N in Theban script. And then once we'd picked out all of the symbols for all of the letters we're using in the same process, we would start with our box. But rather than it being in our usual alphabet, we would be using our Theban alphabet, and we would incorporate our design using our Theban alphabet. Same procedure. Start with a box, play with the design within the box. When you're happy with the overall effect of your sigil, if it appeals to you, if it speaks to you, move on. Remove the box. So draw your design out without the box, and this is your completed sigil that you will then use. And you can use this sigil either on its own, you can use it on a candle within Candle Magic. You can use it on your personal tools. So maybe you'd like to design a personal sigil. So taking either something like your magical name, possibly, creating a sigil for your magical name, and then you could inscribe your completed sigil onto your tool. So something like your athame or your wand you might want to engrave into your tool, your personal sigil. So that's just a basic, very basic guide for beginners on simple sigils, how to create a simple sigil. If you have any questions at all, please do get in touch. As I said before, the only silly question is the one that you don't ask. I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to answer questions. So if there's anything that you would like me to explain a little further or go into a little more, please just get in touch, leave a message. Comments are always welcome. And if you would like to look at sigil work in a little bit more detail, I can guide you to the works of Aleister Crowley and Austin Osman Spare. Those are two people that I would highly recommend looking into their works in creating and working with sigils. So, I hope you all enjoyed this little video. I hope it's useful. And many blessings to everybody. So, bye for now.